Well, g'day guys. It's so cold, wet. It's 50% chance that I'll be working tomorrow, 50-50. I'll get a text probably on the way to work at about 6 in the morning saying don't come in, you know. Yeah, so I've got the heater roaring. It's horrible down in the shed, it's freezing down there. But I've got some really exciting little tidbits to play with inside in the comfort of the house. Firstly, I need to show you this. This is amazing. Oh. Looks like something off bloody Star Wars, doesn't it? Yeah. And then that's all chromed as well. So, look, I decided to go with the chrome because just it was 50-50 on the comments, and you know, some guys saying yeah, go chrome, and someone saying no, don't go chrome, and yeah, just these guys just do the most incredible work. I mean, you know, the depth of luster to that is just amazing. You know, you just don't see chrome that good. Anything that comes from overseas is just garbage, you know. And this is like, I think triple chrome. I don't know what but it's just an amazing company. And also the other things that I needed to get chromed were you know, the seatbelts that I took out of the XB. They were all. You know, I needed some parts. I needed the B-pillar covers, and I needed the actual straps. The buckles that attached to the top, but they were all rusty. And so, because the XB is still sitting, all the doors are off it now, so it's in the weather. It's had the back window out of it, the parcel tray. It's a very weathered interior. But these were all rusty, and I think, you know, 20 years of rust, more than just 5 minutes of rust. But yeah, look at those, they've come back. So they managed to get rid of all the pitting, and that was why I sent these off, because they were severely pitted, and I think they fill them with brass or something, and then they do the chrome. I'm not sure of the process, but yeah, they filled them, and yeah, so they're beautiful and smooth now. And that was my only requirement, really. I just didn't want them to wear out the seat belts. So yeah, I've got the two of those. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the chrome. It's a bit of an extravagance, and you know, the other thing I got was so that's all the chrome. Well, I've got one bucket come back, one bucket of gold stuff. So I got that done as well. I've got all my goldy stuff. I'll put the camera on it in a minute. You remember the hangers? Hey? I hope everything's in there. My God, I'll be peeking when I get to the end and I've still got pieces of paper with photos of bolts that are not there. You know, so that's the finished product. When you really polish your steel up, and before you send it away, you get this. You know, I managed to polish inside as well with the Dremel. So yeah, that's a really good finish. Oh, that's right, that's one of these had rust in it. And these little plates turned out well too. Oh, there's lots of goodies. That's another one of the brackets. So look, I'm going to tip the bucket out in a minute, and I've got a everything comes like this, it gets all wired together. Just cut that. It looks like Christmas decorations, doesn't it? Every nut, washer. Surprised to see they do the washers as well. Screws. Oh, it's really cool. So the finish is beautiful, actually. It's the best I've seen come from the company that I used. It's like going fishing. Yeah, so. Oops. Bonnety stalky thing, you know, the bonnet thing. Anyways, look, I'm going to put the camera onto this stuff and start unpicking it. Got all my bags ready to go. Ready to put the nuts and bolts back in. Fantastic. Ah, look, that's just beautiful. So that's the finish. When you polish your steel, that's the finish. That's what you get. The depth of colour is really incredible. You know? Just beautiful, beautiful depth. You know, to be honest, I actually haven't seen anything come back looking this good before. I mean, this is I think about the fourth lot of stuff that I've had done from the company, and that is testament. The beauty in this, the colours are rich, the coating's perfect. I mean, even just, you know, like, the colour is really, really good. And there's no pitting, there's no grime, you know. Yeah, that's what you need to do if you want really A1 finish. Wiper arms, yay, they come back looking great. Oh, it's hot in here, it's 25 degrees. So, yeah, but it's only like 8 degrees outside, it's absolutely freezing. I mean, I don't know how you guys in the polar regions handle it. I mean, I come from New Zealand, but, you know, grew up in the snow really, but, yeah, the Melbourne cold is really cold. It's funny, it's damp, it's horrible. Yeah, sorry about on video 11, I was playing around with editing, trying to squeeze in music, just basically seeing what I could get away with YouTube. And look, it was more of a pain in the ass than anything. It took me basically twice as long to edit, you know, and, you know, I'm just going to probably just stop playing music. Oh, guys, this is just beautiful work. I have never ever seen this quality come back from Warner's. Oh my God, I can't even remember what that is. That's the genuine one, and that's the one I made. I made that from an XB one, from the one on the XB. That is mint. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I was really worried about, see, these have got, that's nylon, like a plastic. I was really worried about that, but that's handled it. Look at that. Okay. Well, I know what these are straight off the bat. These are front bumper bolts. I just took heaps and heaps and heaps of these off all of the cars. These are the packers. I just figured I'd just send them all away. Cost no extra. I sent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 away. Yeah, 8. So enough for 2 cars. Yes, I sent away 2 sets of front bumper bolts as well. See, because when I do Ethan's XB, or when Ethan and I do the XB for him, you know, got some stuff done already. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera off for a while, alright? There's no point in sitting there watching all of this. I've just had Grant Wickham, one of the subscribers of these videos, send through heaps of photos to my mobile on the air conditioning and the pulleys and whatnot. So I haven't had a look at it. I'll have a look at them on my iPad, so it's a bigger screen, so I can actually check them out. But really appreciate it. Eh? Thanks heaps, Grant. So yeah, so we're getting there. Those bolts are undone. Gee, I tell you, if you really didn't like your client, you could make their life a misery. You could just you could wrap them up so much harder. And just getting those off, it's no easy task. It's because my eyesight's not that good. I can't see which way they've wrapped them, and you know they have wrapped some way and some the other, and it's a killer. And the worst ones are the ones with a washer, where the washer doesn't come off, and little screws. Little screws are tricky. But yeah, I sort of sat down. Yeah, these are the hardest. These ones here, because what the wires actually catch on the serrated type washer. Oh, it's hard. It's hard going. But we're almost there. So everything's looking good. Haven't lost enough of a bolt yet. So I thought I was recording, but it obviously wasn't. Anyway, it's quarter to 12 midnight. We're still going. Get in there. I'll just put those together. They've come up really well. A couple of hangers. Got a bit between them. goes there, so that goes that way. On a posing pair. That goes on the driver's side, down beside the petrol tank. That's on the passenger side beside the petrol tank. Awesome. Top hangers identical. Yeah. So those hangers, given that, you know, one set was with the car and one set was with the XB, negligible price, because the zinc coating is very cheap, $100 for that whole bucket. The rubber was $7.55. I remember that because I couldn't put it on my FPOS card because it was under $10, and I've still got, you know, best part of half a metre left. So $7.55, maybe let's say $10 to have these, $10 to totally renovate these hangers, $10. Good thing with these photocopies is it's actually to scale. Okay, so we've got two bolts one washer, and one nut left over. It's pretty good. That's bedroom. It's hardly a bedroom. I mean, I've got all sorts of stuff in here. Oh my God. There's the back seat. There's our parts we did tonight. The light's not very good in here. Okay, this is a glove box and dashboard frame for an air conditioning car, or for an air conditioning car. You've got the vents on both sides. Now, when I go to really close to the dash, you'll see, because I've used the fabric, of course, that is on the seats. I'm going to continue this theme through the car with that colour, black and tan. So the dashboard's going to be black and tan. It's actually really quite straightforward putting these back together. You can only put them together in once, so don't even stress about, you know, taking these apart. The only thing you do have to keep in mind is when you join all four pieces apart. But putting all this stuff together is just, there is only one way it can go. Okay, so you've got a lip on the outside and a cup on the inside. The little ball joint, little brass bush needs to go into just sit into the cup. And then you put a little spring retainer on top, and then you just, so you open the two back, you leave the top one, you leave the top clip, you know, as it was in the factory, because you don't need to move that. You just undo the two side ones, and so when you go to put it back together, you put your bush in, you put your little spring in there, and then you just clip that on the ends, and just squeeze it together, and bend those tabs over again. Come on. Okay, so that's upside down that way. Yep. So they both go to there. The one with the little spike is the driver's side. There's a little spike on the back of that. I think it's for an extra arm for the wiper. Okay, so that goes in to the plenum that way. So of course that one will go on the front and that one will go on the back. I'm going to grease these as well. That one is for the wiper motor. That's it. There you have it. undo all of the bloody bolts in the firewall before you undo it underneath the steering column, because yeah, you've got to get them out first, and because that'll just support its own weight. If you take the top bracket off first, then you're always forever holding it up. That little creature there. I mean, there's no insulation on that. It probably was insulation back in the day, but that's just floating around underneath the dashboard, you know. No wonder cars catch on fire. Jeepers, that's a real monster. I see. It's probably, I don't know if that's a bib stool special thing or what, but it's like, there's no like pivot on it. Let's see. Don't know if I like it or not. It's a bit sort of Bigfoot, Leadfoot sort of. Yeah, it's a bit of a, you know, a statement saying, you know, come on, stand on me. Anyways, it is what it is. This is a pretty comfortable way to take a dashboard out. You know, there's a sequence to this, right? And I don't know it. I remember actually on Facebook when I was doing the XW, a guy had a really cool, I think it was a sort of a printed article on the sequence to remove an XW dash. Okay, now if you remove enough of them, you'll understand that, you know, you've got things have to come out in order. And it'll be exactly the same for this, but I have no idea what the order is. So basically I'm just, you know, wherever I can create additional movement, that's the order that it's coming apart. It was really useful because, especially when it come time to put it back together, it was a great publication. It was just basically, it was a page of text, and it just listed, you know, where you start, okay, from the dash working back, okay, to remove it. It was bloody great. Just wonder if anyone's got the same thing for an XB or an XA. I wonder if this top crash pad comes off first. Oh my god, it's just a clip by the looks of things. Oh yeah. Oh. Oh, there is a screw. Woohoo! Well, I think it's time to flip the car up the other way now because I can work on everything quite easily now. So, what a great way to take a dashboard out. I mean, if I knew what I was doing, this would have been a bloody piece of cake. But, oh, look, I'm really, you can't see what I can see. I can see my garage floor through an area where you shouldn't be able to really see anything. It's grass. At least the floor's clean. So, yeah, that's going to be a really grunty repair. I cannot wait to start the plenum. Can't wait. Hey, listen, while I've got you, there's a few people I'd like to say hi to. Firstly, the Aussie in Germany. Yeah, good man. Don't know your name, but if you sign off next time when we're chatting, just put your name there. I should have asked, but you know, yeah, just coming into spring over there, so he's pretty happy. Bo, Bo, who moved to Philadelphia from Florida. Used to be in air conditioning industry. He's helped me out with a lot of advice and information about the systems. Good man, thank you, sir, and hope your Chevy truck progresses well. He sent me a few photos last night of his truck. Cool old beast, you know, sort of 80s style. Yeah, no, so I look forward to sort of watching his progress. And talking of Florida, I've got a friend over in Florida, Pam. She's now watching the videos, so g'day Pam, how are you, babe? Hope all is well with you. So yeah, look, international people, it's really quite cool. But if you're talking to me, or if you send a message and you've got some sort of kooky name like Omnibus 7000 or something, you know, just sign off with your name so I know who I'm talking to, because I haven't got a very good memory when it comes to, especially because I can't put a face to the name. Yeah, just put your name down and what country you're from. Well, that's an aerial. Might put in an underdash aerial, like an electronic one, so rather than having a hole in the guard. Okay, so when it comes to time to feeding this whole loom through, you don't feed it through from the bird's nest side. You don't feed all that bird's nest stuff through that way. You get this and you feed it through from the back. Yeah, easy. So that is a separate rear loom, which is great. Oh yeah, I don't like that. Ta-da! So there you have it, the car is officially totally stripped. There's only one piece I've just caught in the corner of my eye, set up to do this sort of, you know, this big boast about the car being totally stripped to the shell, which it is. But I've left this piece of chrome trim on, stainless trim on this gutter. And I've just got to flick that off, so I forgot about it actually. But you know, that little pile I've been working away at trying to get that pile under control. Well, bugger me, you take a dashboard out of a car and there's the pile again. I mean, you know, I really want to get all that stuff sorted out. I'm going to upholster the dash anyway shortly. Now I can take that loom over to Pete. He can sort of, you know, tickle that up and clean it up as he does so beautifully. A bit noisy. I'll edit it out, but yeah, it's the best place for the power cord, so going to give this engine bay a bit of a clean. Well, that's problematic. What a bugger. I got this hose made by a hydraulics hose guy. And it fucking just blew off. This thing's got heat pressure, eh? When I first got this, used to be able to strip the bloody insulation off wiring. And like my old excavator, I was pressure cleaning it. And bloody cut through wires and whatnot, the insulation on it, yeah. So there you go. My high pressure washing is over. Oh, it's looking good. Now I can see it is still leaving a bit of a film of oiliness there, but it's pretty bloody clean. So I'm going to do this to the whole engine bay, clean the whole thing by hand, and then I'm going to hit it with some CT18, which is a high grade detergent, and that'll wash all the oil off. And then I'm going to prep sole it, sand it back, and then I'll prep sole it, and then I'm going to just put it straight into primer. Everything that's visible from the bottom upwards will be POR 15 black, okay, and it'll all be black, and then because it doesn't see any daylight. Yeah, and then when I spray down from the top, everything else will be the actual colour that I've picked. You know, the front, there, everything will be the colour. And then I'll flip it back up, and then I'll just touch all these up, because I'll have overspray over them, so I'll just touch them up with the POR 15 again. So that everything from the bottom is black, and anything visible from any angle at the top is colour. It's starting to cool off. Had a couple of spits of rain before, but nothing major. It's supposed to be raining all day, but it must look atrocious. Anyway, I was speaking to a guy from the group today, just via text message, and he was saying we were talking about the engine bay before I even sort of started washing it down, and he did notice that I was washing parts with thinners, and he said, "Oh, Jace, you should try kerosene." And I was thinking, "Oh yeah, I sort of remember kerosene as a cleaner." And you hear that? Dude on a motorbike. Yeah, and so he said, "Oh, you should use kerosene," and it just dawned on me that bloody oath. And he said, what he said was right. So thanks, Tony. Your advice was brilliant. It's easy on the hands, and it doesn't rot your gloves like the thinners. Wrecks your gloves. Kerosene doesn't do that, so your gloves last. And yeah, it was, so nice guy from Auckland, living in Tahnee in Victoria. So